Yo, what's happening? It's Kip. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be telling you guys a lot more about my story and how I got into fitness. So for those of you that don't know me, right, my mom died when I was 1 and my dad has been incarcerated since I was 1 as well. He's been locked up for 33 years. So it's like he doesn't even exist to me, right? Unfortunately, at a young age, my great aunt adopted me. She was 60 years old when she got me. She was poor. She was an alcoholic. She had her vices, right? So it was hard for her to take care of me. In the neighborhood I grew up in, right, it was a drug-infested neighborhood. It was Jack boys and D boys, right? Unfortunately, I looked up to the wrong guys. I looked up to the D boys, and I became a hustler. At a young age, I started trapping, and I started making money. And it was a bad habit that I picked up to provide for myself, to buy myself school clothes and school shoes, because my great aunt couldn't provide for me. She couldn't even buy me school clothes and school shoes to go to 9th grade. So I had to hustle to buy my school clothes, school shoes. Man, listen, I was in and out juvenile facilities, right? I became institutionalized at a young age. And I didn't want to correct my behavior pattern. I didn't have a positive role model to put me on the right path. I didn't have resources or access to Boys and Girls Club, somewhere that would have kept me out of trouble, or somebody that would have provided for me and showed me the right way, right? So by the time I was 16, 17, you know, I was in the streets, knee deep. Had over 100 grand when I was like 19, 20, and I turned 18 in a juvenile facility, right? Got out. One of my goals was to be one of the biggest drug dealers, right? So I had the mindset to commit to a negative thing, right? But I didn't have a mindset to commit to a positive thing. However, I didn't know how to reverse that negative behavior to positive behavior, right? So, boom, I got out. When I was 18, got out of juvenile program, and I went right back to my old habits. Selling drugs, getting money, in the club, hanging out, VIP sections, hanging out with rappers in VIP sections and shit like that, right? And I had a 5-year run, right? I was a club promoter, drug dealer, entrepreneur. I had a carpet cleaning business as well. And after that 5-year run came to an end, I was indicted by the feds. I was sentenced to 70 months. On top of that, I was sentenced to 20 years in the state of Texas, right? So when I went in, I was 140 pounds. In that 5-year run, right, I was dealing with so much trauma and pain from growing up in the conditions that I grew up in, right? So I became addicted to Lortabs. I was taking 60 Lortabs a day. I was spending $300 a day. Like, my addiction habit was like 8 grand a month, right? I got off the Lortabs, got addicted to Molly and lean. So I thought I was quitting one habit, but I adopted another habit, right? And that was my coping mechanism. Boom. 2013, I was sentenced. Reality set in, right? I was in a cell. I didn't have a coping mechanism. So I did a lot of soul searching within myself. How am I going to do this time and not allow the time to do me, right? So I was hearing guys talk about routines, getting money. So a daily routine in there was consist of working out if you're getting money, right? So the analogy of the hustlers in the streets, right? When they got to prison, they used that analogy of getting money is working out, right? So remind you, I didn't have any experience of working out, exercising. You couldn't pay me to go inside of a gym and work out before I went to prison. So while I was in there, right, I started working out. I weighed a $140, $145, right? And I knew I was lightweight. So I knew I would have to be able to defend myself if something went down, right? I'm not a gang affiliate. I ran solo. I was a hustler. So, and I was never forced to be put down in a gang growing up in my neighborhood. I was get money. I was get money type of guy, and I influenced my homies, right? So I was a leader. So when I got to prison, I didn't understand the dynamics of the gangs, right? I didn't understand the politics of it. So when I got in there, remind you, I'm a $140. Barely can do 20 push-ups in a row. Couldn't do one pull-up. Couldn't do one ab roll out. I was out of shape. I was in the worst shape of my life. 23, about to turn 24. So I started a little routine of push-ups, tricep dips, squats, lunges, and a few ab exercises. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, right? And when I got to the first yard, right? Prison, gang yard, FCI Memphis. It's like 12 gangs on the yard. I didn't have a clue about anything pertaining to gangs or how they move in prison. And when I got there, I wanted to work out with a workout crew, but nobody wanted to allow me to work out with them because they took their workout serious, right? So they looked at me fresh out the bus. Oh, he just wanted to try to come play around and act like he want to work out. So eventually I got an opportunity, right, to work out with his workout crew. And when I committed, right, they had the shot caller talk to me. He had a life sentence, 2 life sentences plus 10 years, right? His name was Kenny G. He's like, youngster, look, I take my workout crew serious. If you commit, you can't quit. If you quit one time, you quit on 1 rep, you can't come back. So that's when I knew, okay, I'm channeling my negative commitment that I did in the streets to my negative behavior of selling drugs, hustling, not caring about my consequences, right? Now I'm committing to something positive, and I'm going to get a good benefit from working out and committing to this lifestyle, right, while in prison. So I wanted to change myself so bad, right? I committed. Man, it was going so hard. I was the weakest link. But I didn't quit because that seed he planted in my head, right? If you quit, you can't come back. The prisoners controlled the weights, right? You couldn't just walk up to the weights and start lifting. So I wanted to lift so bad. I finally got an opportunity, but I knew if I give up one time or if I didn't show up Monday through Friday, I wouldn't be able to come back. So that level of commitment helped me develop consistency, right? Consistency bridges the gap to discipline, right? Commitment, consistency, then discipline. So each day that you're consistent, you're depositing into your discipline account, right? So I'm consistent, right? And but I wasn't eating healthy, and I wasn't seeing my body changing. My body changed for a little while, right? And then it stopped. And I couldn't figure out why I can't get the look I want, right? But originally when I first started working out, I didn't have a desired goal. I started because I wanted mental stability. I didn't want the time to do me. And my outlet was fitness, right? So my coping mechanisms while I was on the streets to deal with my emotions was doing drugs. Now I no longer had that coping mechanism, right? I discovered my passion for fitness and how it made me feel. It was like a refresh button. It was therapy for me while I was in prison. So I'm with my first workout crew, right? And I committed, stayed consistent for about 5 to 6 months. Then I was transferred. But what I learned from committing to my first workout crew, accountability is important, right? Especially if you lack discipline. And staying consistent is important. And you cannot out-exercise a bad diet. I learned that from my first workout crew, my first 6 months of my fitness journey, right? But look, that's how I went from the streets to fitness. I'm going to keep telling my story. But if you need accountability, if you struggle with commitment, if you struggle with consistency, which is the only way you can develop discipline, right? Click the link in my bio. Listen, I offer one-on-one online coaching and group training. Whichever one you feel comfortable with, commit and let's get it.